Hi there, welcome back to Learning English is Fun with Teacher Fidelis. And today we shall be discussing a new character that is Dr. Abiola Afolabi from Nigeria. In the other episodes, we have discussed the four-path travelers, and by discussing this new character, we shall look at how Dr. Abiola Afolabi combines the four characters because he's the guide. He's the guide because he gives the instructions to the four pertaining what they're supposed to do. When you look at chapter 1 and chapter 2 in Fathers of Nations, then you get to understand that the four-path travelers were given instructions by Dr. Afolabi on what they would do as they got to the summit. The summit was supposed to discuss the one document, Way Omega, but AGDA introduces document number 2, that is Path Alpha. Now, who is Dr. Afolabi? Dr. Afolabi is a Nigerian who studied at the University of Harvard in the United States of America, and he currently teaches at Ibadan University in Nigeria. He's married to Pamela, who is an American woman. When we first see Abiola Afolabi, we see him when he's dishing instructions, chiding or scolding some of these characters, and we get to see how irritable he is or how short-tempered he is as a person. The very first time we meet him, we see him talking to Pastor Chineke Chamaka, asking him what he was doing at the bar. And then Pastor Chineke Chamaka talks to him and tells him that he was actually at the bar taking a Pepsi. Now, we shall look at different episodes that we have in the text, and we see how we can talk about Dr. Abiola Afolabi. The very first one is at the interview he has with Fiona Mackenzie. Remember, Fiona Mackenzie is a reporter with the Gambian News, but she's later working with the VOA. So at this particular moment, she's supposed to interview Dr. Abiola Afolabi, and she knows who he is, but on the other hand, he does not know who she is. So she introduces herself and starts asking questions. And he's kind of agitated by how Fiona talks to him and how curious she is and how she keeps pushing them to the wall. The very first time Dr. Abiola Afolabi sees Fiona Mackenzie, he thinks that, I've seen a lamb, someone who is so demure, someone who is so calm, but unknown to him that Fiona was actually a lioness. Yes, she was as cute as a button, but she knew what she was going for and what she wanted. And that's why she kept asking Dr. Abiola Afolabi many questions. And the very first question she asks is why he is going to the summit. And for that, Dr. Afolabi responds by saying that he was actually invited to go to the summit to advise the presidents concerning the document under discussion, Way Omega. Then Fiona Mackenzie goes ahead and asks Dr. Abiola Afolabi, why do you support Way Omega? Why are you optimistic about what would happen to Africa, and yet in your book, Failure of States, you're very pessimistic? So Dr. Afolabi goes ahead and talks about the changes that would be brought to Africa once Way Omega was used as the document to govern the continent. And he talks about things such as the rigged elections would come to an end, the coups would come to an end, among other issues. Now, at the mention of his book, Failure of States, he is angry, and he tells Fiona not to just read the title of the book, that she should actually go ahead and read the whole book before she starts commenting about how pessimistic Dr. Afolabi is just by the mere reading of the title of the book. Then when they're having this discussion, Fiona gets a call from her boss and she goes back to the office, and that cuts or brings to an end the interview. The next place where we find Dr. Afolabi is when Fiona Mackenzie is being attacked by the Liberian Mauler. That is page 58-59. If you look at that page, you see that Fiona is being attacked, and this man is calling her a joy, meaning a street walker, and she keeps shouting and screaming for help. No one is coming to her rescue, and Dr. Afolabi, once he hears her shouting for help, he goes and assists her. This does not come easily, and he fights off the Maula, and his face is scrapped, but Fiona helps him by using some ointment on his face. The next place where we see Afolabi is chapter 5 of the book, that is page 66 to 70, thereabout. When you read about Afolabi, he had gone to Washington to deliver a keynote address, and this is when he's coming back from Washington with his wife Pamela, he meets this cranky or fussy passenger who insists on sitting with Dr. Afolabi. And once he sits with Dr. Afolabi, if you read, you'll find that he starts talking about, now let me just read page 71. Dr. Afolabi took it. It said the man was a director of special projects at the Agency for Governance and Development in Africa. Pleased to meet you, Mr. Longway, Dr. Afolabi said. My name is Abila Afolabi. I teach at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. You gave an excellent keynote address the other day, Dr. Afolabi, said the cranky passenger. Sparks of earnestness were crossing his eyes. Then the conversation continues, and this is where now Tad Longway takes the opportunity to talk to Dr. Afolabi about AGDA and by extension Path Alpha document. And since Dr. Afolabi was supposed to go to the summit to advise the presidents, Tad Longway uses this opportunity to sneak in another document that was not supposed to be at the summit. Now, when they get to Nigeria, Pamela gets to know that there's a girl, Nimbo, who is in her bedroom, and she wonders and she asks her houseboy, why am I having strangers in my bedroom? Then the boy does not know how to communicate well in English, but then when they get into the house, they see Femi. Femi is Abiola's cousin. Now, once they get there and see Femi, Femi says that the tribesmen or their kinsmen brought in this girl to be a second wife to sire kids for or children for Dr. Afolabi. Then Dr. Afolabi tells Yemi, I didn't say that I wanted another woman. I didn't say I wanted a second wife because I'm okay with Pamela. Pamela at this point is agitated and she tells Abiola to tell Femi and the girl to go away. It is in the middle of the night. Dr. Afolabi then tells Pamela that they can't leave because it is at night and they will leave in the morning. This makes Pamela so angry and she says, why do we need to sire other children while Africa was full of children? Africa was like a pool, and they could just go there and pick the children instead of siring others. But Abiola's people did not want to understand this. So once Abiola says that the man and the girl would not leave because it was in the middle of the night, then Pamela decides to be the one to leave, and she takes her suitcase and goes into the night. She goes back to her father's house in Boston, and a week later, she files for divorce. So the separation that they had in the airport or in the plane was like a precursor. It was like a prediction of this bigger separation that would come, and that is the divorce. Then lastly, we see Abiola with Fiona at the hotel room, where she's asking him, hey, are you married? Do you have a wife? You're behaving like someone who is not married, and they keep having that friendly conversation. Then the last bit is Abiola at the summit, and he presents when he's given the opportunity to address the summit, he just talks about Path Alpha and why Path Alpha was better than Way Omega, and by that he just doesn't advise the presidents on Way Omega, but he supports the document that was brought in by Tad Longway. And that is the information we have about Dr. Abiola Afolabi. Of course, even in as much as we're using this book right now to discuss how to write essays, remember that for the Form 3s, you can use this book to answer questions on the excerpt. So the moment you read a certain chapter, like now chapter 5. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.